Marvel Tōkon is the newest fighting game on the market, packing a 1-2 punch of an amazing aesthetic and the Marvel license. However, in a year with a ton of heavy hitters, is it worth spending your time and money to invest in this game? While the open beta period has ended, I investigated the game during the beta to see if you should buy Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls. This video will briefly go over some of the key aspects of the game, from the overall package, the early gameplay loop, and some things you should look out for when you're considering buying. Hello, my name is Ezro. I've been playing fighting games for most of my life, as well as having a background in FPS titles like Overwatch, Valorant, Marvel Rivals, and Apex Legends. So whether you're already into fighting games or are looking at getting started, this is the video for you. Starting off, let's talk about the first thing you see when you open the game, the visual aesthetic. The menu system in this game is super amazing. It's invitive, it's intuitive for newcomers to the game. While I did initially get lost looking for that training mode, getting everywhere else was very streamlined. I also personally love the aesthetic that they went with. If you didn't know, the style, the UI, and the visuals are based on the comic book drafting and creation process, with there being notes in the margin, bleed lines, trim marks, and other things that go on into making a comic book. This aesthetic is just amazing, and as a graphic designer, the amount of thought that goes into maintaining and keeping the style makes me geek out. Like when you're forming your team, they start out as outlines, then they become one color, and then finally they're fully colored in. Also, if you're wondering why the color blue is used so much around this UI, it's a reference to the process of developing comic books, where this shade of blue is used for the rough outlines. This is because historically, traditional scanners were unable to sense this particular color. This allows artists to sketch and not have to worry about pencil marks or erase marks or outlines appearing in the final draft. So when they get to the inking stage and they scanned it in for the final product, they'd still have the sketches there, but they wouldn't show up in the final product. This is super sick, and if you love the thinking behind it and you're interested in learning more, I'd love to make a video about it, so comment down below if you're interested. So now that we've taken a look at the menu style, let's take a look at the overall package. So in this game, there's a ton of stuff for you to do at all different levels of player. If you're only interested in the 1v1 modes, you have quite a few options, with the ranked mode, which pairs you against people in similar ranks, a casual mode, which matches you with people in your region regardless of rank, an online lobby mode, where you can host custom games with your friends or random people online, and finally, the open lobby system, which lets you connect to a hub server, meet people as avatars, talk in chat, and get called a slur. Yeah, that actually happened during the beta for me. Also in this hub, you can play things like first to 3, infinite matches, and even spectate other players playing their matches. This is pretty standard for most modern fighting games, especially if they're developed by Arc System Works. But I just want to let you know, if you're just getting into the genre, there's a ton of different ways to play people online without tanking your rank right away, especially when you're just trying to learn the game. Now let's say you're not too interested in playing people online at all, or maybe just not yet. Maybe you just want to play the game for the aesthetic, or just see your favorite Marvel characters interact, or maybe you just want to get your toes wet before you head online. Then this is the perfect game for you, as there's a wide variety of stuff to do outside of the online mode. You have the episode mode, which is a bunch of cutscenes in the style of a comic book that tells the story of how each team was assembled and has a bunch of character interactions that you wouldn't normally get. You also have other modes like an arcade mode and a survival mode, which puts you against computer's opponents, allowing you to practice the game and potentially earn rewards. We normally earn rewards by completing the arcade mode, whether it be an extra cutscene or even some extra content. We're not quite sure yet from this beta. These modes are great for exploring the game and its systems without the pressure of an online opponent. If you're trying to learn the game, there's also a tutorial mode, which this automatically plays when you first boot up the game for the first time, but it's here in the menu system in case you need a refresher. Right below that, there were 2 modes that were not available in the beta. They're called the battle mode, which will go more in depth about the mechanics of the game, specifically the assemble gauge, assemble counters, and other unique mechanics specific to this game. We also have character guides, which will teach you the basics of a specific character. Overall, no matter how you're trying to experience this game, either as a seasoned competitor or a new casual player, there's a bunch of different content for you to experience, making this a very cohesive package. Speaking of characters, let's move on to them, as it's probably the biggest seller for this game, specifically because it is that Marvel IP. Each of these characters look and animate exceptionally well. The developers of this game, Arc System Works, are second to none in creating 3D models with that anime aesthetic without making them feel uncanny. They have also done games like the Guilty Gear series and Dragon Ball FighterZ, which you've seen either of those games, they look amazing. They also adapt the source material of things that they are emulating incredibly well. If they're adapting a source material of something, there's an extra level of care put into it. I mentioned before that they made a Dragon Ball game, and there's a ton of amazing references of both the anime and the manga within the poses, the dialogues, and even the key moves that they use that flow seamlessly in gameplay and visual presentation. They also adapted Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners in Guilty Gear Strive, and the amount of work that went into her is crazy, making her fit into that Guilty Gear aesthetic while still referencing both the anime she comes from and the game is amazing. If you got Arc System Works to work on your IP, you best believe you're in some of the most talented hands in the industry. Like, if I wanted my favorite IP to be adapted into a fighting game, I pray to God it is done by Arc System Works. Oh, Wait, they already did. It's called Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, and it's beautiful. Please play it. When specifically talking about the Marvel Tōkon character designs, Arc System Works has kept a unique blend of traditional elements as well as injecting their own flair into the designs. It's really cool to see a unique take on all these characters, and Arc System Works was chosen specifically by Marvel for their ability to create something in their unique aesthetic. Rest in peace, Capcom. In graphic design, there's this principle called abstraction, where it's how much can you limit a design and take away from it while still having it be recognizable. So while the character designs are pretty different, they still have that core identity of the character tied in. Some definitely more than others. For instance, if we take a look at Danger and Iron Man, they lean heavily into that Arc System Works style, in comparison to characters like Wolverine and Doctor Doom, which look a lot more like their traditional character designs. I personally was drawn to the design of Green Goblin for both his unique gameplay design and just how he looks. He looks so crazy and unhinged, as well as Magic for different reasons. If you're a fan of any of these characters, you will probably love the design unless you're a Spider-Man fan, in which case, it's cooked. Listen, I personally don't mind the design of Spider-Man in this game, but I know Spider-Man fans are very fickle about the designs of the costumes. But if you want the more traditional designs, you do have some hope, as there's potentially classic costumes coming. Classic costumes coming. That's so hard to say. But if you do want the more traditional designs, you do have some hope, as there's potentially classic costumes coming to the game. And I know I just tingled all the Marvel Rivals senses on that one. I know they love their skins over there. We already have 6 confirmed costumes with more on the way, with 5 coming in the Ultimate Edition of the game, as well as a collaboration with Insomniac's Marvel's Wolverine game. But overall, I think that each and every one of these characters has a unique style and identity in this game that will create new fans for the character that wouldn't have existed otherwise. For me, love every single one of these designs. They all are bangers. Now that we've covered the visuals of this game, let's move on to the stuff that you're probably more interested in, which is how the game actually feels. This part of the video will not cover the high level of the game since I am a tag fighter bum. So I'll be only talking about the early combat of this game for when you're just getting started. If you're looking for more high level gameplay, I'll potentially make something more down the line once I've gotten my hands on it a little bit more, but you can also view channels like SageM or Diafoam who have a lot more experience and content surrounding the early to late game of kind of theorizing what this game's gonna look like. So, to tear off that band-aid right away, this game is a 4v4 tag fighter. That means you have 4 characters on your team that you have to choose and potentially play as. Now that may be intimidating, but don't worry, if you only want to play 1 or 2 characters, you can completely play this game without changing to another character. That being said, if you want to be optimal, you'll have to learn how to play more than 1 eventually. But if you're just starting out, you can focus on 1 or 2. For the controls of this game uses quite a few buttons. It's technically a 5-button game, and we'll get on to why it's technically later. But it uses a light button, a medium button, a heavy button, an assemble, which is your assist gauge, and your unique attack, which is going to give you access to the character's unique options. I also feel obligated to point out that there is no block button in this game, so you have to block either pointing away from your opponent or back and down away from your opponent. This might be a turnoff for some people, especially if you're from the Mortal Kombat series. However, I think it makes the game a little bit more engaging, and you're not dealing with the crazy teleports that require a block button like you are in Mortal Kombat. If you're worried about doing combos, special inputs, I'm here to squash all those worries. I'm going to show you a very basic combo structure that I learned super quickly, and it's universal, so no matter what character you play, it's going to work. That being said, that means it doesn't use any of the unique mechanics of the character. So while it's a great starting point, when you want to start getting more and more optimal and experience more about your character, you're going to want to learn more stuff that's character specific. But if you just want to hop into matches right now, this is a very basic structure to start with. So this is going to be the very basic structure that's going to work with every single character. So you're going to start with your light attack, then your medium attack, and then you're going to hold down and press heavy, or 2H. So all we're doing is scaling our buttons up in strength, so light, then medium, then heavy. And the heavy is going to launch them up in the air. And once they're in the air, we're going to hit the up, we're going to hold up, and then we're going to hit light, medium, heavy again. And the only difference when you're in the air, you're going to just hit heavy twice, and that's going to send them tumbling down. There you go, you've done a combo. Congratulations. How do we get more? Now, if we want to add on to it, we're going to need assistance, specifically with the assist button. An assist is a character that you have on your team, but they're not the point characters, so they're not currently being played. And by hitting the assist button, it's just going to come out and hit them. You start off with just 1 assist, and you gain your other 2 through the course of the match by either breaking the walls by using special moves or throws, or by losing rounds. There's a few different assist types depending on which direction you're holding when you hit the button, but for this combo, all we're going to do is just hit it neutrally, so we're not going to hold any direction, we're just going to hit the button and it's going to come out. And we're going to do that during the second heavy attack in the air. So when we're in the air doing that combo, when we hit the second, we're going to hit the assist immediately after. So we're going to do the same thing again. So we're going to do the light, the medium, the heavy, jump, light, medium, heavy, heavy, and then we're going to call an assist at the same time. This is going to put them into a tumble-like state where you can extend the combo. So once we do that, we do the exact same button structure again. So we run up, we do light, medium, down, heavy, jump, light, medium, heavy, heavy, call an assist, and we do medium and heavy, and then it's going to end. And that's the end of that combo. And you're probably wondering, why? Why couldn't we continue? We had another assist. We only used 2 of them. Like, why did we stop? Well, if you saw at the end of that clip there was that red flash of light. That is the combo limit system. So you're unable to do anything because the system is literally preventing you from doing it. If you check out this combo meter, you'll see that while I'm hitting them, this meter at the bottom underneath the number is slowly building up with every single hit. And once it hits the limit, your combo automatically breaks. So how can we play around with this? Because this is not optimal damage at all. We just used all our assists. We didn't really even end in good Oki or anything like that. So how can we extend this combo even more then? Well, that's where your super meter at the bottom here comes into play. So this meter is used for a few different things. It builds up during the course of the match when you're hitting people or even when you're getting hit, and lets you first use enhanced version of your moves. So if you see here, I have the normal fireball. It comes out, it does 1 hit. But I also have the enhanced one, which uses 25 of my gauge, which comes out faster and hits multiple times. But it's using a resource. The other way you can spend this bar is with a super, and that's what we're going to focus on for this very basic combo. So instead of doing that combo and ending with that crouching heavy, we're going to input a super after the medium. So let's do the full thing, but instead we're going to end with the super. Alright, congratulations, you have officially completed your very first combo. It's super basic, super simple, right? Like I said, super easy? Definitely. I keep saying you spend the super. How do you do a super? Well, if you notice on the side of the screen to do a super, I did a quarter circle forward plus medium and heavy at the same time. So I did down, down forward, and then medium and heavy at the same time. Now, if you're new to fighting games, you probably just got a little nervous. And honestly, I get it. I come from the Smash scene, so I know a lot of people that just never played like Terry or Ryu because of the inputs. Well, what do you do then? Much like in Smash, you can do these specials, including your super, by just hitting 1 or 2 buttons. So this is where I'm talking about. It's technically a 5-button game, but you do have some extra buttons. Specifically, we're talking about the quick special button. So this button gives you access to specials without doing any of the special inputs. So instead of having to do a quarter circle and a button to do a fireball, I can just hit a 1 button and we'll do it. Don't have to worry about it. Same thing with super. So instead of doing that motion input where I did a quarter circle forward plus the medium heavy, I can just hit unique and then quick special at the same time. So that's going to be my right bumper and my right trigger together. It will automatically activate the super. This also works with special moves. So in this game, your specials have different strengths, starting with the light version, the medium version, and the heavy version. So to get the light fireball, I just do quick special plus light. To get the medium, I press medium and then quick special. Very simple. You don't have to do any of the special inputs. So if you're coming from Street Fighter and you use their modern controls where you potentially lose a bunch of buttons as well as being locked into that control scheme, you always have the option for the quick special button in Tōkon without losing any of the options. So the only thing that you really lose out on by doing the quick special is damage. So for example, if I do a super with using the unique attack and the quick special, so the shortcut, it does 11k damage. Versus if I do the super with the quarter circle input with the medium and the heavy, it does 13k. So if you want to optimize, you eventually want to do the inputs, but there's going to be a lot of cases where the quick special button is more useful. For instance, if someone's jumping in on you and you want to do a DP, but you're worried you're going to mess it up, you just press forward and quick special, it does it for you. So there's going to be instances where it's worth it to sacrifice the damage for the reaction speed. Now, let's say even that was overwhelming. You don't want to use the quick special button. You don't even want to do this combo. You just want to get on and mash buttons with the boys. And listen, I get it. That's how you get into fighting games. And luckily, Tōkon has an option for you. Following the steps of Dragon Ball FighterZ, Tōkon also has an auto combo system. So Tōkon uses 3 auto combos: the light one, the medium one, and the heavy one. So the first one is the light auto combo, which you mash light 4 times and it does this combo, very basic, and it ends in a special move, which can be used to break the wall. The medium one is where stuff gets a little bit interesting. So if you don't have any meter, you can mash the medium and it sends them up for magic, and then I can jump and then press medium again and do a very basic combo. You also notice that final hit of that medium combo was the same one that I did when we were talking about that first combo in that tumble state. So you can call an assist and just do the same thing over and over again. To add on to this, if you also hit the medium combo, but you press it 5 times and you have the meter, you will automatically transition into that super. So you don't even have to use the quick special unique to do the super. You don't have to hit confirm it. You don't have to do a combo to get into it. You just have to mash medium. Same thing with the heavy auto combo. By mashing heavy a 5th time, it's also going to automatically go into that big super. It's going to give you that big damage, with the trade-off being that it's going to do a little bit less damage. So no matter what level you're at, there's something in this game put in place for you that you can try out, and there's clear steps on how to evolve your game as you get better and better. Let's say you start with just mashing buttons. There's the auto combo, and then maybe eventually when you get better, you want to move on to this sort of basic combo structure. And then once you got a better feel for the game, you want to start using the more unique stuff. Like for instance, Magic has portals. I didn't even touch on that in this basic combo. But Magic has a bunch of stuff that she can throw out this portal. She can do stuff like throw a fireball through it and it'll teleport behind the opponent. She herself can teleport through it both above, behind, and in front of. And then she also has the option to do a slash in front of it. And there's a ton of unique ways that you can integrate that into a combo. And I just was not able to touch on it during the short time that I had with the beta. But overall, no matter which level you're at, combat feels amazing. So I definitely recommend it if you're on the edge because you don't know about the feel of the combat. I think it's definitely worth it to give it a try no matter what level you're at. So now that we've covered the whole package, first of all, if you made it this far, you must have liked the video, right? So make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Like, help me out, help a boy out. Secondly, that means you're potentially very interested in this game. So what are some things that you should be aware of before you buy? Well, first of all, the performance of this game is dog ass. I have a pretty beefy computer. It's not like a supercomputer, but I can run Rivals very easily above 60 FPS with ultra setting. And even then, this game struggled to run from time to time. What was just the beta experience, I had a bug where it would launch and then it would just replay the start menu over and over again while blowing out my eardrums. There was also crazy lag when playing people online, and it's very clear that this game is unoptimized, especially during the time of the beta. This is potentially because of the 7 anti-cheats PlayStation is running on the PC port. So the performance on the PC port was not amazing, and I can tell a lot of people did not have computers that can handle it. A lot of people online were lagging like crazy, and that's potentially due to, network issues, but I did play someone who had a perfect connection, like no lag. It was like 23 ms, but it was still running so slow, and that's potentially because their PC could not run the game. And I know this because I played Launch Tekken 8 and my old PC could not handle Launch Tekken 8. And it basically slowed the game down like it was being played underwater, and I did experience that a few times during the Tōkon beta. With that being said, Arc System Works did in fact release a statement that they are working on optimizing the PC port of the game. So it should be a bit better on launch, but there is only 2 weeks from the beta to the official launch of the game. So genuinely, we don't know how the performance is going to be. It should be at least marginally better. For PS5 users, I know they had a lot of similar issues with performance on top of the game requiring a PlayStation account to run on both the PC port and on PlayStation. So the game is just straight up blocked in a bunch of different countries, which this is truly the year of PlayStation humiliation. Like, come on, bro, seriously? So I can say tentatively about the purchase, just make sure your PC meets at least the minimum requirements and just read what people are saying online. If you're on PC, I strongly recommend using the Steam refund policy, where if you have under 2 hours of playtime, you can refund it. So if you want to play, but you're kind of unsure about your system, maybe it meets the minimum, but you just want to see how it would run, buy it on Steam, check it out, play some online matches, see how it feels, and if it just doesn't work, refund it and wait for better optimization. The other major con that I could potentially see, which is maybe not even a con, but at the highest echelon of the game, it might not be as messed up as other tag fighters. If you're familiar with the genre or just have like a super competitive itch where you want to hit people with crazy bullshit and bully everyone, I think it's going to be a bit harder to access that stuff in comparison to games like 2XKO, and especially compared to Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Arc System Works has put in a ton of safeguards to prevent people from doing the more messed up neutral and messed up mix that is more common in other tag fighters. For instance, they have the forced combo drop after a certain number of hits that prevents infinites. It has a cross-up prevention system, so normally in tag games you can call an assist and it would land on the opposite side of an opponent and you could be hitting them and then you switch to them and then it's a left-right mix-up. This can occur in Tokon, but there's a huge slowdown, so it's very obvious that you're switching sides, so that's going to be very unlikely to happen. Speaking of people hitting you on the opposite side, if an assist is called and it hits on the opposite side of you, you can just block the same direction as the point character. You don't have to switch, it will automatically block it. This game also has wall breaks, which prevents the constant disadvantage state by resetting it to neutral by breaking the wall. If you're familiar with Guilty Gear Strive, it's pretty much the same system as that, except it's much easier to break the wall in Tokon. Not saying that there won't be crazy tech that you can hit by, but it's probably just going to be a lot harder to access, or is going to be something completely different compared to other tag fighters. In my high level, scrubby, mid-range level player opinion, I think that this game at a high level is going to be more figuring out how to optimize things within the guidelines versus the endless creativity offered by other tag games. And that I say that it's like potentially a con, it's just depending on what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for the more messed up stuff, you're probably not going to find it here, or it's going to be very different from what you'd expect from other tag fighters. If you're looking for more traditional mix and messed up stuff, you probably want to go take a look at 2XKO or a Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Now, if you're just looking to get your feet wet in the sort of the tag fighter genre, I think this might be a pro because you're not going to get hit with incredible knowledge checks or just a lot of stuff that you have to guess on. So it could be a pro or con depending on who you ask. So to wrap up, I think that this game is amazing and absolutely worth your time if you're even somewhat interested in this game. I think the overall package, the character design, the combat, and the feel of the game are just extraordinary. For the person who wants to get on and just mash against their friend, there's things like auto combos. For the casual player who can only play a few hours a day, there's things like streamlined basic combo structure, as well as a ton of casual modes. For people coming from other games in different genres, and maybe this is even your first fighting game, there's a ton of tools within the game to help you learn. Aside for the technical limitations of the game that will hopefully be patched by the time it comes out, I give this game an A+, and I will be playing the hell out of it on release. This is probably the most excited I've been for a fighting game launch since like Street Fighter 6 maybe, and I hope to see you all in some games with me and mashing some buttons. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I do plan to do more videos like this in the future, as well as more long format videos that are a little bit more thought out, that allow me to stretch my design legs, as well as talk about video games. As I mentioned in my intro, I play a lot of different games outside of fighting games. I play a lot of JRPGs, I play a lot of hero shooters, so I plan on doing content on all of those, as well as more fighting game videos. For instance, I want to do a video about the importance of a launch roster in character-based games, as well as do more videos about video game graphic design. So if any or all of that sounds interesting to you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post next. Otherwise, I hope to catch you in some lobbies when Marvel Tōkon launches. I also plan on streaming the game on twitch.tv/not_Ezro. So that's going to be all from me. Thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Hope to see you around. See ya!